So what we're going to be doing today is just a quick repair video on this is a Samsung front load high efficiency washer, and what we're going to be doing is replacing the panel that controls actually everything, but controls the switches as well as the display and the dial itself. So if any of those things are wrong, this is going to replace the whole thing. The whole panel comes off. You can't just replace one of the switches on this particular model. There are other models that I've seen out there where you could replace just one of the switches here. But for this one in particular, the start and the stop button isn't working properly. So what we're going to be doing is taking that off, testing the button for continuity itself. I've got a separate video on testing for continuity, so if you want some more information about that, you can click on the link below. First and foremost, before you start anything here, you're going to want to unplug the dryer and do all work with the dryer unplugged. Okay, so let's get started. Alright, so here we're looking at the back panel of the dryer here, and the first thing we're going to do is take the top part off here. You're going to have two screws that you take out, one here and one on the opposite side there. Once you take those out, you can take this whole thing and pretty much slide it back towards you and lift it out. Alright, so now that we've removed the top, there's access. So this is the front here. You're going to see access to, there's 4 screws here at the top you're going to take out, and once you take that out, then this whole front section you can lift off and pop out. So take these 4 screws out, and then this front section will pop right out. Alright, so we've removed the 4 mounting screws from the top. Now you can take this on both sides, and you're going to see it's loose. Be careful, there's plastic clips you don't want to break. But you can just work it loose. Take this down. It's going to come right apart there. Now you're going to take the wires that are inside here and carefully take them out of the mounting plate, and you're going to see there's going to be screws inside here that you're going to take off to remove this whole section here. So now with the screws removed, we've removed the actual board from the front panel here, and you can see the operations here. You're going to see all these small buttons here. There's one here, there's one at the top here, and there's a string of them here at the bottom. So these are the actual buttons, and they're labeled on the board itself. So this top one here is your power, the bottom one here is your start and your pause, as well as all your other functions here. So that would correspond with the front panel. The top is your power, the start and stop, as well as all of your bottom functions. So basically when you press these buttons in, it presses the buttons on the board. Now for this model here, you can actually see, so here's the power button. So you're going to see that this is the power button, this is the pause button, and when those buttons are pressed, it actuates that arm right here. So this moves up and down and presses the actual button, right? So the issue with this one, if it's the start or the stop, it could be this arm is not moving correctly and not pressing the button. So we need to test 2 things. We're going to test to see if this arm is working correctly, as well as test the button itself. Now this board is being held in by a backing plate. It's got these small plastic clips here at the top, and has small clips as well at the bottom. You're going to see on one side, which is towards the dial, there is a small clip right here, and on the other side there's no clip at all. So what you're going to want to do is pry up these top parts with a screwdriver, and don't damage the board and don't damage the clips, but this will actually flex a little bit. So you can stick a screwdriver, I've used 2 flat-headed screwdrivers in here, and pry these clips out and then slide the whole thing this way. So the first thing we're going to do is, before we take this board off, is there are 2 plugs here for the wires. All you have to do is take those and remove the plugs, and then you could deal with taking the board off of the backing plate once you have these plugs out, and you can take it to a table and work on it there. Okay, so now the board is removed, and I'll show you these clips here. So this is the clip at the top. You can see here, right in there. There's another one right there. So what you're going to do is work a screwdriver in here and pry this out, and this whole board here will pop right out. Okay, so you take this, put it aside. What you want to be careful with is this back section. You don't want to damage anything back here. So whenever you're doing any of your work here, you don't want to place it down here. If anything, take a towel, stick it down, and move everything face up here. So basically what we're going to be looking at here is, what we're trying to test is if this button, which is this bottom button here, is the start and pause button, if when pressed, if that is actually working or not. So if you flip it over, you can see the corresponding two parts here, right? So you can see the black button here. You can see the corresponding two sides here. The same with the power button at the top. If you turn it over here, you can see there's two corresponding spots on the back. So what we're going to use is our multimeter, and we're going to test the continuity of when this button is pressed. Alright, so we're basically going to be using your basic multimeter, and what we're going to do is we're going to set this to the ohms, and ohms is going to be your upside down horseshoe, and for this one we're going to set this to 200, and here you can see that it's 1, right, which is infinity, and test this, let's see, you can see that it's 1, and when we hold the two terminals together, you can see that it's getting down there to 0. The fact that it's not actually 0 might be a low battery, or maybe my connections aren't quite there. They might be a little dirty, but it's close to 0. So that's measuring the resistance. So basically what we're going to have here is, this is always going to be at 1, right? We're going to take one of these terminals connected to one side of the switch. Take this to the other side of the switch. We're going to take, so the two terminals will be one spot, and this is going to be another spot. Now when we press that button, then we should get a reading of close to 0, if the button works. So we'll test that now. The hard part that I found about this is you don't have enough hands, really. So it's easier to do with 2 people, but you can do it with 1 person if you work it out just right. So I take this, and what I'll do is hold this on the terminal and actually press the button with my bottom finger here. Okay, so in testing those, and you can also test your other buttons while you're here, but so in testing that, I found that the stop and start button is not working properly. So what we're going to have to do is replace this whole entire board here. Unfortunately, you can't just replace the button itself, but you're going to have to replace the entire board. Okay, so the new parts come in. This one actually comes with a back already with it. So it's going to be real easy. All we're going to do is plug the plugs in. You're going to wire, make sure the wires are in the harness. Put the screws back on, stick the whole thing back together, and it should work just fine. Okay, so that's it. All we have to do is plug it back in and turn it on, test the buttons, and make sure that everything works. I hope the video was a help. If you need any other links, such as where to find parts or Any other links for testing continuity and things like that, you can look in the info box below. And I hope this helped.